Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talkin Fight with Holly Donovan. That is me. Happy Friday. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. It is the afternoon here in the UK, in London, and today I will be previewing the fight that is happening tomorrow, and that will be live at Wembley Arena in London. It's a big one, and it's my favourite fighter. So I'm going to begin with my favourite fighter as she is headlining, which is Katie Taylor. And she'll be facing Karen Elizabeth Carabajal from Argentina. Now, where do I begin with Katie Taylor? Well, I can honestly tell you that I would not be a boxing presenter, nor would I be doing this show, nor would I even be a fan of boxing, probably, without Katie Taylor. I really think that, actually. I was first introduced to Katie Taylor with a video clip on YouTube. And I genuinely thought that someone had sped up the video. I thought it was like one of those amalgamations where, they just go through all her fights really fast. Turns out that wasn't true. No one had hit fast forward. No one had sped up her fights. And the boxer that I was seeing in front of me was genuinely that fast, that skilled, and that incredible. And it was also the first time I had watched a female fighter. So for me, it just opened my eyes to this whole world that I didn't really know about. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And since then, I haven't missed a single one of Katie Taylor's fights. I even cancelled my own birthday to watch a fight that she had. It wasn't even the Amanda Serrano fight. It was one in last December. Because I'm such a big fan, I feel like I owe everything to her. So tomorrow night, she'll be making her 7th defense of her undisputed lightweight titles. She has had 21 fights. Obviously, she's undefeated, and 6 of those are KOs. So I'll tell you a little bit about Katie Taylor. I feel like a lot of people know about her now because of the massive fight that she had earlier this year with Amanda Serrano. So that was at Madison Square Garden. It was the first time women had headlined at all at Madison Square Garden in their 140-year history. So it was a massive, big deal. The fight itself was incredible. Amanda Serrano, another incredible boxer. Hopefully I'll have another opportunity to give you a preview about her as well. But she came out all guns blazing. She's so fast, a ridiculous amount of energy, and really gave Katie, I would say, the toughest fight that she has ever had. In fact, in about round 5, Katie really was struggling. She'd been hit so much. I'd never seen her like it. And it got to the point where I actually thought that Amanda was going to beat her. However, this miracle happened and she managed to get it back. And this second wind came. Katie Taylor managed to bring back her energy. She got her skills back, particularly the footwork going in and out. And she managed to win. She got it back. And that, I have to say, was one of the most incredible fights I have ever seen. And it really is, fight of the year. If there's that one, and there's also Clarissa Shields and Marshall from a couple of weeks ago. I don't know, I'd say maybe Katie Taylor, that fight would tip it because it was just there was so much drama in that. Okay, so how did she begin? So it's been 6 years since her debut, which doesn't seem very long, actually. And her dad was a boxer. And her brothers were also boxers. So she came from a boxing family and she really wanted to get involved. I think we might have a picture, actually. So let's put up the picture of the fight night that is coming up. This is the one I'm banging on about right now. So it's the Taylor and Carabajal. And actually, if we go to the next photo as well, we might have a little zoom in of the two fighters tomorrow night, where she faces Karen Elizabeth Carabajal. There we go. So Katie on the left there with her bruised eye. Okay, so she was from a boxing family, and when she was very little, she desperately wanted to train. However, boxing was actually illegal for women in Ireland. So she went to the boxing gym as Kay Taylor. She pretended to be a boy. You hear this story so often with female fighters, but yeah, she had to lie, she had to pretend. She also played football. She was very athletic, but eventually all her skills, just everyone could see them, and people knew it was Katie Taylor, knew who she was. In her amateur career, she was determined to make a change for females in boxing. And she is actually one of the reasons why the Irish boxing authorities first legally sanctioned female fights. So she put on showcase fights for them to prove the entertainment, and eventually they agreed, and Katie Taylor was in the first ever legally sanctioned female fight in Ireland. So that was number one. After that, she was part of the process of getting female boxing into the Olympics. So again, she went to USA, she went to Russia, and she put on exhibition fights again, showcase fights to prove how entertaining female boxing could be. And thank goodness the International Olympic Committee said, yeah, let's bring it on. And 2012, London 2012 then happened. So you could argue that without Katie Taylor and what she did then, we wouldn't have the caliber of boxers that we have today. People like Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall, Katie Taylor, they are the pioneers at the top, and Katie really did lead that way. So she's an incredible person as it is. And then, you know, she won golds in pretty much everything you can possibly imagine in the amateurs, and then went straight into a professional career where she is undefeated, and like I said, unbelievably skilled. So she is up against Karen Elizabeth Carabajal. She is 32 and she is from Argentina. Now, she has had 19 fights and 19 wins. So she is totally undefeated. However, she has never fought outside of Argentina. So it's really difficult to get a gauge on how good she really is and what kind of fight this is going to be. I mean, she's the mandatory challenger, so she's worked her way up. But this is the first time she's coming outside of her country, and she's going to face Katie Taylor for that very first time. So pretty gutsy. Now, she's promoted actually by Marcos Maidana, who is a two-weight world champion. I'm sure you know about him. And Karen herself is the former South American and Argentinian super featherweight champion. So she's got accolades under her belt. She's got fantastic promoters, and they are calling her a warrior. So tune in tomorrow night live on DAZN to see if Karen Elizabeth Carabajal can give Katie Taylor a really good fight in the ring. I hope so, because we all love a good fight. Okay, so let's move on to, I'm going to talk a little bit about the undercard, give you a preview of those guys too, just so that you can enjoy the whole night rather than just the headliner. So let's have a little chat about Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez. So if we go to the next photo. Here we go. Okay, so let's start with Jordan Gill. He's 28, and he is nicknamed The Thrill, and actually his last fight proves that, and I'll tell you about that. He's had 29 fights, 27 wins. He's had one loss and one draw. Now, the loss, he claimed that he had food poisoning the day before, so that was why he was in, why he didn't perform as well as he did. However, he's also had quite a lot of bad luck in his career. So he went pro in 2012. So we've had 10 years of him being a pro. And this fight that he's having tomorrow night will actually be the eliminator to go for the world title currently held by Josh Warrington. So he's finally there, but it's taken him 10 years to get to this potential world title shot. He's currently the European featherweight champion, and he won that in his last fight, which I urge you to watch. Go on YouTube. He was facing Gurphy, and I have to say it was so dramatic. It was, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to, well, I was going to say, I don't want to ruin it for you, but I will. So it's a really, really tight fight. And he was actually knocked down in the 7th round really brutally. He was even being counted down. He also perforated both of his eardrums in that fight. So he was really out sorts. You could see that he was really struggling. He was really wobbly. However, in the 9th round, out of nowhere, he managed to get some energy back, and he delivered a massive knockout in the 9th round, and that was to claim his European champion title. So really quite incredible. He's also coming back from a broken hand. He had a hand injury as well, so he's had an operation there. But this is finally time. In the interviews that you see with him, he's like, oh, finally, this is it. I'm here. Nothing's wrong with me. I can't complain about anything. So he has had so many niggles and injuries. And finally, he gets a chance to be able to really step up and try and take himself into the world rankings. Now, he has a tough opponent. I'm sure you know about Kiko Martinez. He's 36 and he has had 56 fights. 43 of those were wins, and they are 30 KOs. He is a former super bantamweight and featherweight world champion. He is returning after a loss to the champion, Josh Warrington. That was his last fight. However, in that last fight, he did actually break Josh Warrington's jaw. So these two fighters, Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez, are lethal. This could be a really dramatic fight. Out of all of them, I really feel like this one has the potential to be really exciting. Previous to his loss to Josh Warrington, he was actually the champion, and he got that from beating Kid Galahad last year. So he managed to knock him out in the 6th round. So again, we've got a really brutal fighter here. Lovely. When I watch interviews, obviously they're translated because he's from Spain, but he says in his spare time he likes to chill out in his garden in his little village in Spain. Really, really quiet life with loads of chickens. I just think that's very sweet. So he's ready for this. He's saying that he hasn't had any time off recently, hasn't had any holidays. He has been completely focused, and he wants a 3rd shot at a world title. This is it. If he beats Jordan Gill, then he'll be able to face Josh Warrington, which will actually be for the 3rd time to become world champion for a 3rd time. So all to fight for here. It's going to be a really, really close one, I'd say, and also really exciting. So tune in for that. Okay, next fight that I'm going to preview for you is Ellie Scotney. Ellie Scotney in the blue. She'll be facing Mary Romero. And this is going to be it's for a title, but Mary Romero is the current European super bantamweight champion, so it's for that title. However, this is pretty much an eliminator that whoever wins this can then go on for a world title. Now, Ellie Scotney has had 5 fights and she's undefeated. So when you think about that, actually her 6th, 7th fight, right up there. You're going for a world title by your 7th fight. That's very, very impressive. Tell you a bit about Ellie. So she was a Tokyo prospect as an amateur. She is originally from Catford in London, but when she joined Team GB, she said she couldn't really settle in Sheffield because it was up north. She didn't feel right, and so she actually left the amateurs early, even though she was a big prospect, and she decided to go professional. Since then, obviously, she is completely undefeated, and she's showing real skill with her trainer, Shane McGuigan. She said when she was younger, she started boxing because her brothers boxed and she wanted to do everything that her brothers did. But he kept saying no. He was like, no, I'm not taking you, I'm not taking you. But eventually her cousin took her boxing. From then, she just loved it straight away, just completely fell head over heels. And she had a great amateur career where she actually won the senior ABAs with a broken hand. She actually won 3 fights in that, with a broken hand. So it just gives you an idea of the grit and determination that Ellie Scotney has. Obviously, we know that sometimes it's tougher for female fighters, and when she was progressing in her career, she lacked sponsorship, and so she also had a job at B&Q. So we've got another fighter here who's juggling different things to work even harder to get to the top. She is very religious. She's really healthy, teetotal, takes her fighting really, really seriously. The last fight she had was against Cecilia Roman, who is a former world champion. We've seen quite a lot of her lately. But Ellie Scotney was great. It was like a day at the office. It was very clinical, got it done, won. She's definitely one to watch. I said this quite a while ago when I was talking about her, that she's really progressing every time you see her fight. Mary Romero, she has had 10 fights and 8 of them are wins. This is the toughest opponent for Ellie Scotney by far, without a doubt. Mary has also had 5 wins in a row, so she's coming in with a lot of confidence. Mary says that she's fighting for her children. Her kids come in to camp with her, watch her do it, and she's saying, this is for her kids. This is so she can get her world title shot. So this is going to be a tough fight. They are both going to be absolutely going for it here. I'd probably say that Ellie Scotney will nick it, but let's see. Don't hold me to that. Never hold me to my predictions. Okay, all right. So let's have a look at the next fight I'm going to preview. So this is, wait for the little picture. We've got Gary Cully on the left. He's the one with the tattoos. And then we've got Jawed Belmedi. I really hope I said his name right there. He's a French guy. Okay, so Gary Cully, he is from Ireland, and he has had 14 fights, no losses, so he's undefeated, and 8 of those have been KOs. So this is a decent fighter. Now, because he's Irish, he loves Katie Taylor. In all of the previews I've seen of him and all the interviews, he's always saying how much he looks up to Katie and how excited he is to be on an undercard, with a title fight with Katie Taylor. So very, very sweet. Seems like a very nice guy and totally on a mission. His brother boxed when he was younger. But apparently their mum kept it secret because Gary was too young to go boxing, but he found out and he really wanted to go. And eventually they let him into this club where you were supposed to be 10 years old, but he was only 8, but they let him in anyway. And ever since then, he completely fell in love with it. Now, he is a brand new Matchroom signing with Eddie Hearn. And actually, his story to how he got there is quite sweet as well. So, in his second ever pro fight, it was on a Matchroom card about 4 p.m. And he messaged Eddie Hearn, I think it was on Instagram, and was like, "Oh, I'm on at 4 p.m. Please come and watch me." And he did. And then the last fight that he had was also on a Matchroom card, and he did it again. He sent Eddie another message like, "Oh, please come and watch me, come and watch me." And this time Eddie was ringside, and Gary Cully put on a massive show. And then he managed to get signed, which is absolutely fantastic. He is the only Irish fighter that Matchroom have signed since Katie Taylor. This is definitely a 50-50 fight on paper. He dreams of being on the card that is spoken about with Katie Taylor. So if Katie Taylor retires at some point or is coming to the closest to the end of her career, because she is 36 now, there might be a massive homecoming in Croke Park in Ireland. This would be a massive deal if this happens, because there actually hasn't been a fight in the Republic of Ireland since the 2016 shooting. So it would be almost coming full circle for Katie Taylor, and it's something that I think Irish fighters and Gary Cully would definitely want to happen. Tomorrow he will be facing Bellamy, who has had 19 fights. He's won 16 of them, and then had 3 draws. So technically undefeated. And this will, without a doubt, again, be the toughest fight that Gary has had. But he wants world titles. He wants to impress Eddie. This is the first time he's been on a Matchroom card, and he is on a mission. So again, tune in. Okay, then we have the next fight, which is, I'll talk about this one. So it's a heavyweight prospect. Sorry, the picture's a little bit small. So we've got Johnny Fisher, who's on the left, and he'll be facing Alfonso Dermani on the right. He's from Italy. Okay, so why am I talking about Johnny Fisher? Because he's definitely a prospect. So he's had 6 fights, and 5 of them have been KOs, and I always think that's a great ratio. So you're going to have an exciting fight, and definitely someone with some real power. His training for this has been fabulous. So he was actually sparring Joe Joyce when Joe Joyce was preparing for the Joseph Parker fight. We all know that Joe Joyce is really powerful. He demonstrated that against Parker. So Johnny Fisher has definitely had a few tests when he's been in training, when he's been in sparring. So really exciting to see what he comes out with, actually. He had a really short amateur career. He had 10 fights. He won all of them, and 9 of them were KOs. Again, why I think he's going to be exciting. He comes from a boxing family. You can see by the way he looks. He used to be a rugby player as well. He turned pro in February 2021, so right at the beginning of his career. And just a little fun fact for you, he studied history at Exeter University. I just thought, a little fact throw in there. You don't normally get that. Let's talk about Alfonso Dermani. So he is coming off a loss. He has had 7 fights in his career. 5 of those have been wins, only 2 KOs. So probably doesn't match the power, depending on obviously his opponents. However, when a fighter's coming off a loss, he's going to be coming for war. So again, I think this one you might actually get a knockout as well, I'd say. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more little preview of another fighter who I just want to do a shout out to on this card. It is, next picture please, Maisie Rose Courtney. Now this is her pro debut, so she's brand new professional fighter, and I'm always really excited when this happens. She was the GB Youth Boxing Champion, and she is exciting because she is the first female to come out of Tony Sims's gym, which is the elite Matchroom gym. So she's the first female to ever be trained in there. They're very excited about her, and obviously this wouldn't happen unless they saw something special, which is why I'm pointing her out and saying, she could be someone to watch. She has a nice little story as well. So she wanted to get fit because when she was much younger, she was in a football team. And guess what? It's that same story as well. It was a boys' football team. She pretended to be a boy, and she called herself Mason. So as Mason, she was playing football, and she wanted to get fitter for that team. So she thought she'd try out boxing. When she got in there, she realized she was way better at punching than kicking, and completely changed her plan. So then she trained as a boxer and had her amateur career. And obviously now she's here to show Matchroom what she's got. a little info about Tony Sims's gym. So some really great boxers have fought out of there. We've got people like AJ. He was there for a couple of years. Conor Ben, although we probably shouldn't say much about him just now. And then Joe Cordina. So she's in with the best. And I'm excited to see what she can do in her debut. All right. So I hope that has given you a nice little preview for what's that? 6 fights. Coming up tomorrow night at Wembley. It's live on DAZN, so tune in if you can. It's not a pay-per-view. And if you like this show, I will be previewing the fight night on the following week if we switch to another one. Just like, oh yeah, go forward. So it's another DAZN card. That's the Bivol Ramirez. Obviously we saw Bivol earlier this year have that really exciting fight with Canelo Alvarez and actually win. So we'll see how that goes. And we've got a fantastic fighter who I love, Chantel Cameron, who will be facing Jessica McCaskill, and that is for undisputed belts as well. So I'll give a nice preview of the undercard, so you can be ready for that night as well. So if you enjoyed it, please hit like, please subscribe to Talkin Fight with me, Holly Donovan. And hopefully it means that you can go and enjoy your boxing night tomorrow just that little bit more, because then you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember him. He's got a degree from Exeter University and things like that. Just makes it a bit more exciting. So watch out for the knockouts. May well get one with Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez. Might get one with Johnny Fisher and Alfonso Darmani as well. And you're going to have really exciting fights elsewhere. Cannot wait to see Katie Taylor in action. If you've not seen her before, go on YouTube. See her go as fast as she does, and watch her tomorrow night, and hopefully you'll see why she is the goddess of boxing. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again same time next week, 2 p.m. UK time, with Talkin Fight with me, Holly Donovan. See you later, guys. Thank you.